Hello, filthy casuals. At UFC 302, Islam Makhachev defends the lightweight title against the number 4 ranked lightweight, Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Islam initially captured the title when he would lock in an arm triangle choke to defeat Charles do Bronx Oliveira. Since then, he has defended his title twice, both times against the former featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski, where he would win the first fight by unanimous decision and the second fight by first round knockout. Since his loss to Adriano Martins, he has won 13 in a row with some notable names. He won a unanimous decision over Arman Tsarukyan that has aged like fine wine, an arm triangle choke over Drew Dober, a rear naked choke over Thiago Moises, a nasty Kimura submission against Dan Hooker, and a TKO win over Bobby Green. He has 11 wins by submission, and it is obvious where his strengths lie. He is a strong grappler with great takedowns and trips. His transition game from position to position is reminiscent of his mentor and teammate Khabib Nurmagomedov. His wrestling is his bread and butter, but his striking has really improved, and he was able to hold his own for the most part against Volkanovski. That being said, he should not stick around on the feet when he faces the heavy-hitting Dustin Poirier. The Diamond's attempts at the title have not gone his way. When he challenged for the belt against Khabib, he would be submitted via rear naked choke. Then when he challenged Charles Oliveira for the belt, he would once again be submitted via rear naked choke. And this will be his third time challenging for the lightweight title. Every time he has lost, he has worked his way back up, and this time is no different. After getting knocked out by Justin Gaethje, Dustin would take on the surging Frenchman in Benoit Saint-Denis, and he would starch Saint-Denis in the second round when he would knock him out with a huge right hook. And this was a huge risk he took, and he was repaid with the title shot. He has 16 wins by knockout. He is a tough finisher. He's got some great finishes over Conor McGregor, a submission win over Michael Chandler, a TKO win over Justin Gaethje, a TKO win over Eddie Alvarez. He has never shied away from a brawl, but he is going to have to be precise in this fight. One mistake and he can get taken down. This could very well be his last chance at gold. Will Dustin Poirier finally break through and become the UFC lightweight champion of the world? Or will Islam Makhachev successfully defend his title and shatter the diamond? Don't miss out. In the co-main event, the number 1 ranked middleweight Sean Strickland takes on the number 7 ranked Paulo the Eraser Costa. We get a battle between two of the most out-of-pocket guys on the roster. These guys be wilding out on Twitter, and I can't even begin to imagine what the press conference is going to be like. Both guys are strikers who are trying to get back to the title. Sean Strickland shocked the world when he would outclass Israel Adesanya to capture the middleweight title. He earned this shot with a TKO win over Abus Magomedov. His first title defense didn't go as planned, as he would drop the title to Dricus du Plessis via split decision. He has a very tricky style. His defense is a tough one to crack, and he is at his best when he leads his offense with his jab, and his jab is going to be working overtime when he faces Paulo Costa. Costa is a high volume fighter who looks to melt his opponents with pressure. He has highlight finishes over guys like Johnny Hendricks and Uriah Hall. Inactivity has been the theme for Paulo in the last couple of years. After losing to Israel Adesanya back in 2020, he has only fought 3 times since then. He would lose a unanimous decision to Marvin Vettori and a unanimous decision to Robert Whittaker. He would get a decision win over Luke Rockhold. He has had a bunch of canceled fights, but it looks like it all worked out for him as he is up against the number 1 ranked middleweight. Both these guys bring the entertainment factor inside and outside the octagon. Will Sean Strickland be able to prove he deserved an immediate rematch against Dricus? Or will Paulo Costa erase his past hiccups and jump the line? Don't miss out. Heavy hitters will come to blows when Kevin the Trailblazer Holland takes on Michal Oleksiejczuk. Kevin Holland has been one of the most consistent and active fighters on the roster since he arrived. He has been active at both welterweight and middleweight, and he has garnered some great moments in both. He has a great TKO win over Anthony Hernandez that has aged like fine wine, a knockout finish over Joaquin Buckley that has also aged greatly, a TKO win over Ronaldo Jacare Souza, a 3rd round knockout win over Santiago Ponzinibbio, a Darce choke submission win over Michael Chiesa. His momentum always gets cut short somehow, and he is currently on a 2-fight losing skid. He dropped a close split decision to Jack Della Maddalena, and he would drop a unanimous decision to UFC newcomer Michael Venom Page. Despite the recent struggles, Kevin Holland has always showed up to fight and always ready to put on a show. He is up against another guy who has traveled between different weight classes in the UFC. McCall has fought at light heavyweight and has now found his home at middleweight. It is no secret that this guy has big power. 14 of his 19 wins have come by knockout or TKO, and he has some great highlights too. He has a TKO win over Gian Vellante, a knockout win over Smiling Sam Alvey, a TKO win over Cody Brundage, and a TKO win over Cheating Joe Kuani. His success since dropping to middleweight has been mixed. He is coming off a first round submission loss to Michel Pereira via rear naked choke. Both guys are strikers who will do everything in their power to keep this on the feet. Will the Trailblazer be able to bounce back and get back on track, or will the power of McCall be enough to get himself back into the win column? Don't miss out. Heavyweight grapplers go head to head when Yailton Mahadinho Almeida takes on Alexander King Kong Romanov. The number 7 ranked Almeida burst onto the scene, winning 6 fights in a row to start his UFC career. That included a TKO win over Danilo Marquez, a rear naked choke submission win over Parker Porter, another rear naked choke win over Anton Turkalj, a TKO win over Shamil Abdurakhimov, another rear naked choke win over Jairzinho Rosenstrike, and a dominant unanimous decision win over Derek Lewis. His streak would come to an end in his most recent fight when he would be stopped by Curtis Blades via hammer fist after a failed takedown. He kind of has a dark cloud hovering over him, as his win with Derek Lewis would sour a lot of people to his grappling heavy style. He was dominant but delivered no type of damage and didn't get the finish. But do not fall for that narrative. He has finished every other fight in the UFC. He will be looking to out-grapple another strong grappler in the number 13th ranked Alexander Romanov. King Kong is also a powerful grappler who had a hot start in the UFC. He started his career winning 5 in a row, where his grappling was on full display. He had an arm triangle choke over Roque Martinez, a forearm choke over Marcos Rogerio de Lima, a technical split decision over Juan Espino, a TKO win over Jared Vandera, and a submission win over Chase Sherman. He would hit a big bump in the road when he would lose back-to-back fights. He would drop a majority decision over Marcin Tybura. Then he would get TKO'd by Alexander Volkov. He would win a unanimous decision over Blagoy Ivanov in his latest fight. His hype was dissipated with the losses, as his one-dimensional skill set was on full display and fully exposed. Now both guys look to prove that they are the superior grapplers and make a run to the top. Will Mahadinho be able to bounce back, or will King Kong be the one to bang his chest in the end? Don't miss out. We get a clash of striking styles when Randy Rude Boy Brown takes on Eliezer Zaleski dos Santos. Both strikers have their own distinct styles, and they will come head to head on Saturday night. Randy Brown is a huge welterweight who uses his 6'3" height and all of his 78-inch reach. He uses his length to keep his opponents at bay, utilizing long strikes and his long legs to maintain his range. After a tough submission loss to Jack Della Maddalena, Randy Brown has been able to get some momentum going with back-to-back wins. A unanimous decision win over Wellington Turman, and an impressive first round finish over Muslim Salikov. He's going to try to keep his opponent at bay. Zaleski dos Santos is a capoeira style fighter. He has some explosive spinning kick. He has a spinning hook kick knockout over former middleweight champion Sean Strickland. He is on a 3-fight unbeaten streak. He started his streak with a unanimous decision win over Benoit Saint Denis, where he battered him for 3 rounds. He would follow that up with a split decision win over Abubakar Nurmagomedov. In his most recent fight, he would fight to a majority draw against Rinat Fakhretdinov. He is a little older, but he has done well in his time in the UFC. Will Zaleski dos Santos be able to use his capoeira to get another win, or will the Rude Boy be able to dispatch the veteran? Don't miss out. Alright guys, that was my rundown of UFC 302. Let me know which fight you're looking forward to the most. It's going to be a great night of fights. Don't forget to tune in. I'll see you next week for UFC Fight Night Whitaker vs. Chimaev. But until then, protect your neck and take care.
They talking crazy about you. They said
brother,
they smash
who
you.
cares? Who cares, brother? Who cares, brother? Who cares? Today, smash.